We are deep in the heart of winter where I live, and I could use some color about now. In design, a pop of color is used for a wow factor, to draw the eye, for contrast and interest. We can do the same with our plants. Colorful plants break up the sea of green. They provide interest, they provide contrast, variety. Welcome to my channel. I'm Cece from One Green Pea, and in today's show and tell video, I'm going to introduce you to some of my very favorite colorful plants. Let's start with a quick botany lesson. Why are plants colored at all? Plants gain their coloration from the way that the pigments in their cells interact with sunlight. Color is just a quality of light. It's based on different absorption versus reflection of specific wavelengths. When a plant gathers energy from the sun, it only absorbs the colors that it doesn't already contain. Since green plants contain chlorophyll, the green pigment, then they don't absorb the green. They reflect the green, and that's what we see. Plants that are other colors have primarily other types of pigments, and that's why they reflect those. And we see reds and yellows and oranges and blues and purples. This is different than plants that have variegations of white. Those cells do not contain any pigments at all. So question number 2, can colored leaves photosynthesize? And the answer is yes. Colored leaves still contain some chlorophyll. They contain a majority of other types of pigments, but there is chlorophyll still in there. And that's why there's not generally a really true red leaf or a really true orange leaf. You see some green in there. Botany lesson is over. Now let's look at some colorful plants. And there are colorful plants for everyone, some that are really vibrant and dramatic, and others that are just a little bit more subtle. The very first plant that is basically the easiest one to bring in a pop of color would be plants that come from bulbs, flowering bulbs. Tulips are an obvious choice, and at this time of year, tulips are everywhere. I like the ones that are planted so that you get to see them grow and open versus cut flowers, but either one are wonderful. I also still have some Amaryllis bulbs that are blooming, so that is another great option. Staying with the pink theme, this pink Syngonium is a beautiful, light, subtle pink color all throughout the year. And again, you can see what I was talking about. Some of the leaves still have that green. Some are a little bit darker pink. So it's a little more subtle. It's not so in your face, but it is really a nice variation. This is the Philodendron Pink Princess. These plants come with a varying amount of pink expressed in their leaves. As you can see, mine is rather juvenile, and so there isn't a whole lot of pink. There are some little specks of pink, and you can see that the stems are a beautiful ruby shade. Now, my hope is that further leaves, here's a new leaf about to unfurl, will show a little bit more of that pink variegation. That's what makes this plant so special, but I think it's lovely nonetheless. In gathering plants for this video, I noticed that I'm rather drawn to this beautiful purplish rubyish color. I have a lot of plants that express that color. This is the Tradescantia. These are cuttings that I took from my main plant that's hanging over in the corner. And not only does it have the beauty on the back of the leaves, but I think the front of the leaves with the green and purple stripe is really pretty as well. Staying with that same color family, the green and ruby, this is a Senecio, and it is called, I believe, the ruby necklace. And so it looks like a string of bananas, but the stems are this really pretty purple, and some of the little leaves have that shading as well. A family of plants that tends to provide a nice range of colors are the Peperomia. This is a Peperomia caperata, and I'll get real close so you can see these stems are pink, and there's this really pretty subtle pink to the leaves as well. I really love this little plant. Just to demonstrate that I have colorful plants that are not purple, this is the Peperomia obtusifolia. This is the Golden Gate, and while the stems are that pretty ruby color, you can see the beautiful creamy yellow variegation on the leaves. This one is really pretty and really easy. I've talked a lot about Peperomias. In fact, 2022 Plant of the Year, I believe. A plant family that demonstrates a wide range of color variations is the Rex Begonia. Now, I know Rex Begonias have a reputation for being kind of persnickety, but I think they're worth it. And here's my tip with the Rex Begonia. Yes, they get kind of cranky, especially if they get too much sun or they get too dry. They'll look crinkly and the leaves will drop. But the Rex Begonias, in my experience, also will tolerate a pretty substantial cutting back. So if your plant is looking not so nice, you can cut it back and it will regrow. And I mean, look at the variety of colors on these leaves. This one's so pretty. This one is the Jurassic watermelon. I actually have a lot of Rex Begonias because I just think they're so pretty. This big girl is also a begonia, but she is an angel wing begonia. This is the Begonia maculata. Now, when you look up close, you can see that the backs of the leaves have that beautiful ruby coloring that I love, but we have this really fun, whimsical polka dotting on the fronts of the leaves. I adore this plant, and I found it to be not all that challenging. It's grown pretty substantially in my care. You can see I've got some crispy leaves. That's not a surprise in the middle of winter. So I've moved her a little bit closer over here to my humidifier, and lots of new growth is coming in and it looks healthy. Two more quick plants to show you. This is another philodendron. This is the Prince of Orange. And again, this one is juvenile. So at first, the leaves are going to come in green, but the older it gets, the more sunlight that it gets, it starts to express a little bit more of its signature color. So this doesn't look very orange, but I've got a new leaf about to unfurl, and cross my fingers, hoping for even more orange color on this one. And a plant that can express a dynamic range of colors, even within this one plant, is the croton. Now my croton is looking pretty dark and single colored, but that's because it's lacking in light. It will diversify a lot more as we move more into spring and summer. So you can see that the leaves are pretty dark, but on the back revealing a little bit more of the reddish and the orangish, and they're just little splotches. So you can find these in every color. And again, the secret with these, because they can be a little persnickety too, is keep them moist and give them lots of light. As you can see, I love colorful plants. I love them all year round. They just make me happy. Thank you for watching my video. I hope I inspired you today to bring some more color into your plant collection. Remember, before you go, to give this video some love and tap on that heart, and also subscribe to my channel so you can join our plant community. As always, my plant friends, let's keep growing together a greener and more colorful world.